Hello everyone, what is up? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. My name is Taylor and I just create videos about things that I like, and today so happens to be I like reading books. So basically this is a 6-month reading wrap up. I haven't done a wrap up since like February, okay? But we're gonna just talk about all the books that I've been reading in the past 6 months because I want to. Now, I haven't read that many books in the past 6 months and I'm very behind on my reading challenge for the year, which is to read 100 books. It's telling me I'm 28 books behind. That's okay, because we're gonna catch up, I promise. I've only read about 17 books this year. Let's start with the books that I read at the beginning of the year. These are the 4 books that I read in January. Now, I do have a whole separate video on these books, so I will link that down below and I'll put it up on wherever so you can go watch it, and that's a more in-depth review. The first one was It Starts With Us, and this is the second book in the It Ends With Us series. This is Lily and Atlas's story. Like I said, you can go watch my full in-depth review of the book. I gave this, I think, a 3 stars, and truthfully, it was a book that didn't really need to be written. I think it could have been summed up in an extended epilogue in It Ends With Us when they re-released the book, especially in the hardback. It could have been a more incentive to go buy the hardback book. Really slow, kind of boring, not much really happened, honestly. The second book I read was The Family Upstairs. I loved this book. I recently just bought the second one, so I'm super excited to read the second book in this series. I think I gave this one a 4.5 to 5 stars. I don't exactly remember. I highly recommend. This is basically a book about a girl who finds out that she inherits a house. When she discovers and goes through this house, she realizes that there's all these weird secrets and abnormalities within the house, and then finds out about the extended family that she has who didn't get the house. Very, very interesting and very good mystery. The next book I read was Her Dark Silence by Jason Casper. I liked this one. I gave it probably about a 3 stars. It was a little bit predictable, I want to say. It was definitely more of like a thriller than like a mystery, if anything. It was still really good, 3 stars, but honestly, it's not one that I like constantly think about or anything. It's just kind of there. And the last book I read in January was All Your Perfects. Out of her books is one I enjoyed more. I think, let me see, what did I rate this one? I actually only rated it 3 stars. This book, it takes place in the past and the present, so it's told from, I'm pretty sure, only one point of view, but it's the now and then timeline. Look up trigger warnings for this book because it does deal with some heavier topics. And like I said, if you want a more full in-depth review, each book, it's a reading vlog, go ahead and watch that video. In February, I think I only read 3, maybe 2? 3? I don't remember. I don't remember what month I read this book in, but these are the orders that I know that I read the books in. Next was Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. I did really enjoy this one. I think I gave it 4 stars. A lot of people were talking about how it's literally just a copy and paste of The Love Hypothesis, which I understand. It is a little bit different the way that, like, I feel like The Love Hypothesis... Are you okay?
Yeah, sorry. Ooh, sorry.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dying in the background, but trying to be quiet about it for you.
People keep saying that this is like a copy and paste of the Love Hypothesis, which, yes, I understand why people would think that, because in a sense it almost is. In this book, I definitely felt like they talked more about like the science, STEM, workplace, everything that was going on with their jobs, a lot more things I didn't understand. I like this one, obviously not as much as The Love Hypothesis, but still very good. Highly recommend reading it if you like Ali Hazelwood. Oh wait, I skipped a book. Hang on. I gotta find it. Where is it? One of the books I read in January was also An Abundance of Catherines. This I gave 1 star. I did not like it at all. This one was definitely more of like a literary fiction, with the slightest subplot of romance, like not even enough to call it a subplot, I believe. It's basically about Colin, who has a type. He constantly is dating girls named Catherine, and he's trying to figure out this like mathematical theorem and the probability of that he won't end up with a girl or like named Catherine. I don't know. It was really hard for me to understand. There wasn't a lot going on that really interested in me, and it was so hard for me to get through. I literally like had tried to read this book in the past like 3 or 4 times and I stopped reading it. I almost stopped reading it again, which I almost wish I did, because I was like, I just have to know how it ends, and honestly it was so underwhelming and I did not like it, and honestly I don't recommend the book. Next book I read in February was The Perfect Marriage. This one was Okay, let me tell you a quick little story about this book, okay? I was talking to Michael on the phone. I was telling him about this book, and he like predicted the ending. He's like, oh, I know how it's gonna end. And I was like, there's no way that it's gonna end like that because of the way that the book is set up. It's not gonna end like that. Well, I got to the end of the book and guess how it ended? The way he said it was gonna end. So now I was mad. But anyways, that's not what this book is about, or what I'm supposed to be talking about right now. Basically, this is about obviously people who are married. You find out that the husband is having an affair and his mistress ends up dead, and he was the last one to have seen her, and then, you know, his wife ends up taking on his case because she's a defense attorney. Basically trying to find out if Adam is innocent or guilty. And there's a whole bunch of twists in this book which are kind of predictable, kind of not predictable. I only ended up giving this book about 3 stars, I think. I didn't enjoy it that much. I don't know what it was about it. It was just like, it was just okay. Like, it wasn't like, you know, it just wasn't hitting it for me, if you know what I mean. I didn't like the way it ended because it was just so like, really, that's the way you decided to take the book in that direction. It could have gone in so many other directions where I thought it would be better, but no. She ended up taking it in the direction that Michael said it was literally going to go in. 3 stars. Next up is Archer's Voice. This one was super, super popular on TikTok at the time. And was it? I don't remember. I just remember I kept seeing it on my bookstagram and booktok and everything like that. So I decided to pick it up and read it. Everyone kept talking about how it like made them cry and like that it was the book that they could read for the first time again. And not that it wasn't good. I did enjoy it. I think I gave it 4 stars. Let me see. Did I give it 4 stars? So I gave it 4 stars. I did really enjoy the book, and I did really enjoy chemistry that the characters had together. It was definitely more of like a believable chemistry because they bonded and shared common interests. But yes, this is a reading wrap up. I'll make sure that it's linked so that you can go watch a more in-depth review of it. But this book is a dual point of view, and this is basically about Bree, who's trying to get out of her town, and she escapes to Pellean, Maine. And Pellean, I think that's how you say it. To get away for a fresh start, she ends up meeting Archer Hale, who is our main character or main interest of the book. 4 stars. I would read it. It's a very nice, I don't want to say nice romance, but it's a very good book. I did enjoy the romance. I did enjoy the story of how they got together and their chemistry and everything like that, so I do recommend. The next book I read is not a book that I physically have. It was one I read on my iPad, and it's Don't You Forget About Me by Mahari McFarlane. I don't know how to say her name. This is the only book I've ever read by her. I think she's an Irish author. I gave this book 3 stars. To be quite honest, I couldn't even remember. I can't even tell you what it's really about. I don't remember. It was a little hard for me to like really get through because there was like so much in the book that I felt like didn't need to be in there. There was like almost like this whole bunch of fluff. I really only wanted to know about the 2 main characters like relationships, and there was a whole bunch of extra added stuff that I did not feel like needed to be in there with other characters. It just wasn't important to the story. In my opinion, I don't think it was important to the story. So that's why I gave it 3 stars. I'm almost like even tempted to be like 2.5 stars because I really didn't enjoy it that much. It was really hard for me to get through, first of all, and I was like, oh, well, maybe it gets better. And it did kind of get better towards the end, but like I said, I couldn't really even tell you what it's about. Slang and the wording, because she's Irish, was a little bit different for me to grasp. So I was like, oh, this is a little bit of a switch from what I'm used to because she's using Irish slang and humor, and it's really like dry humor, Irish dry humor, which is not something I'm used to reading. And this next set of books that I read is a series, and this is a 5-star series, let me tell you. I am obsessed. Okay, this is the first fantasy series or book that I have ever read, so I'm really glad that it was off to a great start for me with that. I also made an entire video on reading the Cruel Prince trilogy, so for a more in-depth review, please go watch that video. Very good. But so I read The Cruel Prince, Wicked King, and The Queen of Nothing. I think I gave them all individually like 4 stars, but the series itself is 5 stars. I highly, highly recommend. The story follows Jude and Carden. They are enemies to lovers to enemies, so it's like a true enemies to lovers. Each book always ends with them being enemies. Like there's always a little bit of romance within there, and then it's like, ooh, twist, here you go. Each book storyline went in a completely different direction than I thought it was really going into, so she really did a great job of like kind of throwing you off of what was going to happen, right? Highly, highly recommend. Great series. It's a young adult fantasy. If you're looking for a fantasy series to get into or to start with, this is a great one. Highly recommend. And then after that series, I was in a little bit of a book hangover, so I didn't read a book for a little bit, but the ones I did read right afterwards were We Were Liars, which I think I gave 3 stars. I don't know what it was about this. I did not really like it that much. I didn't like the ending. The ending did make me a little sad, but I did not like it. I was like, really, that's how it's gonna end? Like, come on. I feel like that's how I am for most of these books, honestly. It was like, really? That's how you want to end that book? I gave it like a 3 stars. I really cannot tell you what this book is about without spoiling it, because I feel like, because even the back of the book doesn't give you anything. Like, it gives you really nothing about the story, and it's because if you talk about it, you're giving away the entire book. So basically, the person that it follows is Cadence, who's one of the main characters. It follows 4 characters, and they're all cousins except for one, and they all summer together in Martha's Vineyard. So every summer, they're a rich family. They go to Martha's Vineyard, and they're, you know, the liars is what they call them. Like, their family calls them the liars. 3 stars. Read, don't read. I don't care. And this next book, all right, be prepared because, okay, well, you don't have to be, it's not that intense. This next book gave me such a book hangover, and I was so emo for so long after reading this book that I didn't read anything for over a month, I think. Like, I was so emo, and I thought about the book all the time. I still think about the book all the time, every day. Well, not every day, but like a lot, okay? And that is If He Had Been With Me. 5 stars. Absolutely loved. Again, did not like the ending. I was like, are you serious? I wish there was an epilogue or something that ended the book. It was just not what I wanted. But the book made me so incredibly sad and so emo. So emo. Yeah, but basically this is about Autumn and Finney. They have been friends since as long as they can remember. Their moms are best friends and they live next door to each other. You know, the whole book follows them throughout high school and basically being with other people and realizing while in those relationships that they're in love with each other but not really doing anything about it. So basically the whole book is, if he had been with me, things would have been different throughout our entire lives, and wishing that they had been together. Everyone who talks about this book always says it tells you exactly what's going to happen in the beginning, and it sure does. Well, okay, it does tell you, but it doesn't tell you. It's almost like a disbelief because you're like, I don't want it to end like that, and there's no way that it's going to end like that. There's no way that she's going to do this. Well, she does. I cried. This is the only book that has ever made me cry. That's all I have to say about that. 5 stars. Highly recommend. Next up, we have Watching You by Lisa Jewell. Lisa Jewell, I can hands down say, is probably like my favorite thriller mystery author, or even my favorite author in general. This I only gave 3 stars. This is not my favorite book by her. I feel like it's done so much better in other books. This one just did not do it for me. I did read this book, I think in like almost one sitting. And the only reason I did that was because I was trying to get to the good part. It was almost like, not that the book itself wasn't good. It was just like, I was just waiting and waiting for the story to get to the good part. That like, it really is like, oh my God, like this mind-boggling like twist and mystery that she usually does. Like, she's really good at that. Like, that's it. It was just like, I was just trying to get to the good part. But on the contrary, I loved how this book ended because it actually surprised me. So in the epilogue, well, okay, actually the actual ending of the book, you could kind of see coming based off of like little hints that she put throughout and everything like that, and going towards the end of the book. Very predictable. But the epilogue ending, oh my God, that threw me through a twist and a whirl, and very good. I actually really did enjoy that. But otherwise, this is a 3 stars. It follows a few characters, and it's almost basically like pointing fingers at this one guy that everybody is obsessed with, and they think, well, some people think he's like not a good guy, and other people are just obsessed with him and like in love with him on this weird level. It's called Watching You because basically everybody's watching everyone in this little area and this little street that they have. It was 3 stars. Not my favorite Lisa Jewell book. She's definitely written better. We're almost done, I promise. Okay, so after Lisa Jewell's Watching You, I read As Old as Time, and this one again was only about 3 stars. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. It's a twisted tale. This one did take a nice interesting twist on the story. Not what I was expecting, but it was a little like dry. I don't know. It was just like not super entertaining. I don't know what it was about it. It just like I said, it just wasn't super entertaining. Like, it didn't like really draw me in and keep me like on my toes and attached and like really wanting to know what comes next. And it's also pretty thick. Like, it's a pretty thick like book, you know what I mean? I just like, maybe it was just this one, and like there's other retellings that I'd like to read that I think I'll find more interesting. This one just wasn't it for me. Next up, Happy Place. Don't Come For Me. I did like this book. I gave it a 4 stars, but is it overhyped? Absolutely. Like, the storyline is definitely Very, very good. The way her writing, very, very good. Definitely one of her better ones. I think I've only read 3 Emily Henry books. I haven't read Book Lovers. I did read Beach Read. I did like that. I also read People We Meet on Vacation. Did not like that. That one was not good. Not my cup of tea. I don't know. I didn't really like it. But this one I did very much enjoy though. The only thing about Emily Henry's writing is that it's so slow and it takes me forever to read her stuff. And I felt that about all of the books that she's read, and it almost makes me feel like I'm not enjoying the book because of how long it's taking me to read it. Like if I'm really enjoying a book, I am like getting through it like no tomorrow. Like I can probably finish a book that I'm really into within like a day and a half, 2, depending on the size of the book, right? But these ones, like all of her books that I've read have taken me so long to finish. And I think it's just the pacing of her books. It's just that it's so slow, and I just don't like that. So if you don't know what this book is about, you must be living under a rock because everybody's been talking about it. Gwen and Harriet, the main characters of this book, they share a friend group. They have just broken up. They broke off their engagement. They're going on their summer trip with their friends. Basically, they have to pretend the whole week that they're still together because it's the last trip they're gonna have at the special place in Maine that they go to every year. Basically, they're just pretending to be together to get through the week so that nobody feels weird or awkward except themselves. But this book, truthfully, I really want to say is about like coping with change, and because she goes through a lot of like realizations within this book, and I think she's really just trying to cope with that change and accepting what is, because all her life, you know, she's imagined this one thing, and even since she's been with Gwen, she'd been with Gwen for a long time, and it's more of like accepting this change and accepting everything for what it is to make yourself happy. Okay, that was a really long explanation. I don't know, but I really did enjoy the book. I did give it a 4 stars. Yeah, if you're gonna read an Emily Henry book, definitely do this one. This is really good. And lastly, Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. And the reason I am including this in this video is because I'm literally in the middle of it right now. You're probably gonna finish this today. I don't know why I wouldn't finish it today. I'm gonna absolutely finish it today. I'm gonna do nothing else but read this book. The way it's going is a little bit slow. I don't know. There's just something about it that I'm like, I don't know if I'm in love with this yet. So we'll see how it goes throughout the end. So I can't give it a fair rating, but yes, Love Theoretically is currently a book I'm reading and that I'm going to finish. And I didn't want to wait to make this video until I finished it. I literally picked this up the day it came out, which was yesterday. I ran to Target and was like, I need to get this book. So I got it, and here we are, and I'm already almost done with it. So this is basically about Elsie and Jack. They are rival professors. Again, I don't know how to describe it. Rival physicists collide in a vortex of academic feuds and fake dating shenanigans with this delightfully STEMinist rom-com. That's one of the big things on the book. And honestly, that's a pretty good synopsis of what it is without reading the entire back of the book. That is all the books I've read in the last 6 months. Like I said, okay, well, actually, with this video, it seems like that's a lot, which it kind of is, but it's not. Compared to most people, that is not a lot of books. But yeah, that is all the books I've read in the past 6 months. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel. And if you enjoyed the book content, please stay around because I love making book content right now, and that is what I'm probably going to be making for the next months time. But anyways, thank you again so much for watching this video. Don't forget to follow me on all of my social medias as well as subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.